Hello! Welcome to another episode of Real Food Live. This week we're continuing our Caribbean cookout theme. So, let's get started. So, quick disclaimer, you might notice, I am not the usual host. Usually this is hosted by Mary, but Mary is off on some very well-deserved vacation, so I'm Amelia, and I'm going to be cooking food with you tonight. So tonight we have two main dishes. One is called Mofongo, and from my very limited understanding, it is plantains and seitan. And then our other recipe is kind of more of a stew based. It goes on top of brown rice and it has mushrooms in it. So to start off, we're going to start with the thing that's probably going to take the longest, and that's our brown rice. Alright, so looks like the first thing is to find a pan. Whatever pan you'll use will need to hold about like 3-4 cups, and you'll need a lid for it. It doesn't have to be perfectly fitting. Alright. So to start the brown rice, we're going to add 2 3/4 cup of veggie broth and a cup of rice into the pan. It's kind of weird. I guess when I always cook white rice, I kind of break it up, like you boil the water and then you add the rice, so this is a little bit different. If you don't have vegetable broth, you can probably use water. It just won't be as flavorful. Like, it won't kill you. Let's do the same amount. Maybe add like a little salt. So, how has the week gone? What a great question. I don't know about you guys, but my week has been pretty interesting. I started a new job as a field tech. Just basically going out and being a little science minion on the Conza Prairie. And it's been a lot of fun. It's definitely different than a lot of jobs, though. What about you guys? How has everyone's week been? Any highlights that we should celebrate as a community? No, no hazmat suits. I'm sure there are science minions that do have to do hazmat suits, but not me. It's more like your usual outdoor wear. Alright, so while that's cooking, we're gonna start on plantains. And so the first step for these plantains is to kind of cut them and soak them in some salty water. I don't know why you have to soak them. Dun, dun, dun. Whoa! Dude, congrats. That's impressive. That sounds like you're building like a really healthy habit. So kudos to you on that. Dun, dun, dun. Alright, so these plantains have to soak in a little bit of water before we cook them. I assume it's to kind of like loosen them up or something, but it's 4 cups of water. I promise I did make sure that there's like markings on the side. I can't eyeball 4 cups. And then a teaspoon of salt. Alright. Okay. I don't know how to peel a plantain. Probably like a banana. Oh, it smells interesting. Aren't plantains dangerous to eat? Maybe. If they're raw. You might have to Google that. I don't know. I mean, obviously it's not so dangerous because people eat them regularly and they're delicious. I don't think this is the strategy for this. What even is a plantain? Is it like banana's brother? The bitter twin? This is like actually kind of difficult to peel. I might have to quickly Google like best way to peel a plantain. Apparently greener ones are harder to peel and mine are pretty green, but Google to the rescue. Let's see. How to peel a plantain. Oh, whoa. Okay, there are people who, if they don't have super ripe ones, are kind of peeling it like squash. Alright, our rice was boiling, so I just threw a lid on it and simmered it and set a timer for 40 minutes ooh, we're losing a little flesh, but I think it might be worth it, honestly. Ooh. They're very unpleasant texture. They're kind of like starchy. Almost like if you could draw like a graph of what a banana feels like when it's ripe, and then like all the way till it's the most unripe, and then you just take it further, and then you have what this is. They taste delicious when they're done though. I've had them a few times. So apparently, as we've learned from our chat, plantains are not dangerous, they're just really gross raw. Oh yeah, oh. It doesn't like taste gross, it's just a texture thing. Okay, wouldn't recommend that. It's insanely starchy. I wonder if it'd be like just eating a spoonful of cornstarch or something. It doesn't taste bad though. It's definitely worse than a raw potato, but kind of like in the same family of why it's not pleasant as a raw potato. I don't know what that face is for, Mr. El Santo Verde. I hope it's the... Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, it is like a raw potato. Woo! That's helpful. I don't think I'm doing a very good job of getting all the skin off. Dun, dun, dun. Ooh! Whoa! Whoa! Guys, you see this? I think I cracked the code. Okay. Boom! Boom! Whoa! Real-time learning. Humans. Whoa! Google didn't even tell me that. The only downside is it puts like a baby slit into the fleshy part, but it's definitely worth it. Boom. Hopefully if you make this recipe, you waited to like start the plantain part until I figured out the plantain part. If not, I'm sorry that you have to suffer unnecessarily. Am I gonna make the... Okay, so this recipe is really weird with the whole mush thing. You fry them like really nicely, like golden brown and delicious frying them. And then instead of just like eating really perfect fried plantains, you put them in a blender with seitan. So kind of, yeah, like it will be mush. I doubt it would really make a difference if it wasn't mush. I really like fried plantains, so part of my brain is just like, why can't I just eat them after I make them? Why do I have to mix it in with weird fermented wheat stuff? But we'll see. Hopefully it's delicious that way too. Okay. He does make everything better. Alright. Let me see how big they kind of recommend cutting these. It probably doesn't make that much of a difference, but... Dun, 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 dun. 1/2-inch slices. Dun, dun. I wonder how many people out there have bought plantains accidentally thinking they're bananas and then tried to like cook or eat with them as if they were bananas and probably almost died. Not literally, but it just would be a painful experience. If you're expecting like this sweet, delicious, soft, mushy banana and you get like potato. I don't know what the biological difference is, but in terms of like appearance and how they work and cook, bananas are smaller, they're a lot sweeter. We learned they're a hell of a lot easier to peel. And plantains are a lot starchier, and they're used in a lot more savory dishes. Ta-da! Ta-da! Boom! Alright, and these go into salty water for 15 minutes. I'm kind of curious to see what the salty water will do. Definitely tempted to try another nibble and see if it's any less like starchy or like what it does to them. I already did. I already ate a raw piece and it was gross. You'll have to watch the rewind of the video. Never again. I'll eat one of the salty ones though, just to see if there's like a difference. Alright. Wow, plantains are soaking. Check. Too bad. You showed up late. Just kidding. This is why we post all of our videos to our YouTube. So you can use them as an educational resource anytime you want, or watch me eat raw plantains over and over again. I really love how you put the social media links up. Thank you. Much appreciated. Alright. Now we're gonna play with the seitan. So we're gonna kind of pre-soak them in like an oil and spice deal. Is kind of what it sounds like. Alright. And so for this we've got 2 tablespoons of oil. Boom, boom, boom. And now I'm just using olive oil. It's kind of what the recipe says, but probably doesn't matter. Dun, 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 dun. Alright. And then for the seasonings, we have a teaspoon of adobo sauce, which, if you got the ingredients, there we go. If you got the ingredients delivered, it's pre-mixed. But if you're making this at home, you can just Google how to make it. It's turmeric, oregano, cumin, pepper. I think that's it. Maybe paprika. It'd be kind of weird if there's paprika in it though, because we're going to add more paprika. So we're going to do a tablespoon of normal paprika. Oh yeah, it did have onion powder and garlic powder. Good call. Oh, this paprika smells amazing. Ah. And then we're going to do 1/4 teaspoon, so it's like a tiny, tiny bit, boom, boom, of smoked paprika. Smoked paprika is really strong, so that's why there's so little of it. Boom. It is really good paprika. You can smell the difference. It smells amazing. So does the turmeric we have. It's like a weird brand. It's Frontier Co-op turmeric. But it just smells much more vibrant. Alright, and then I'll put this in your way. Okay. And then we're going to take our seitan, we're going to cut it up into 1/2-inch pieces. This is weird looking. It's kind of got a smell to it. Not like a bad smell, it's just like tofu doesn't have any smell, but this has a smell. Alright. Boom, boom. Food. So seitan is typically used like as a meat substitute, but it can be cooked like just as its own thing. It's a pretty old food, and from my understanding it's like wheat based. Oh yeah, water, vital wheat, gluten, soy sauce, nutritional yeast, ginger, rice oil, rice vinegar, and whatever kombu is. So it's a slightly fermented wheat block. It's a lot firmer than tofu. But yeah, it is also food. You're not wrong. Oh, that's helpful. Yeah, I'd see seaweed as being part of this. I know this is like originated in Asia, so they have seaweed there. Unlike here, where that would be kind of a weird thing to toss in. Wait, did you actually learn that off of One Punch Man? Okay. Alright, so with the seitan, I was kind of stirring it and letting the oil and seasoning kind of coat all of them, and we're gonna let that set as long as these are setting. Boom, boom. Alright. In the meantime, we are going to start on boom, boom. Whoa. So educational is the anime. Alright, so we're going to start on sofrito. But I'm going to take a quick time out, sprint to the bathroom. My apologies, I am very dehydrated and have been trying to drink water, so this happens. In the meantime, feel free to like blow up the chat so I come back and have to read a paragraph of horrible puns. Or information about anime. It's very helpful. The wonders of live entertainment, am I right? Oh man. Alright, so the next thing we're going to work on is something called sofrito. It's not really a dish itself, but it's going to be a component in the stew we make. You can think of it as kind of a liquid seasoning mix. And so for that, we're going to use one bell pepper. It says a medium onion, and this is definitely not a medium onion. So maybe I'll use like half of that. And it calls for a whole head of garlic, so I'll probably use, or 2 heads of garlic. It calls for a head of garlic. I'm halving the recipe, so I'll use half of this head of garlic. Whew. If you're making this and you got the ingredient bags, you got like a little more than half of a head of garlic. Be sure to save 2 of those cloves for the Mofongo recipe, and then let me make sure that the stew doesn't use any. Okay, yeah. You only need to set aside 2 for the Mofongo, and then the rest you can use as the sofrito or as vampire repellent. Oh boy. Alright. And there's also cilantro and chili peppers. Pretty much we're just going to cut this up and put it in a food processor. So we don't have to cut it up super nice, we just have to like get the job done. These are giant vegetables, by the way, like just absolutely enormous. Okay. You know, it'd be really hard to tell, honestly. Wait, what's fresh restock? Oh, like when they restock a store. Duh. But one time we were driving to Texas with my family, I forget why. And you know the saying, like, everything's bigger in Texas? Well, my littlest brother was probably around 9 at the time. So just on the edge of, like, when you can kind of trick him with stuff. And so me and my other brother, who's a little bit older, were like, oh yeah, like, once you cross the Texas state line, like, everything gets bigger. Like, you get bigger, the car gets bigger, just, like, magically. And, like, my littlest brother was like, no, you know, he was kind of skeptical, and we're like, well, how would you know? Because, like, everything's bigger. Cooking? Okay, have you, in regards to the cooking for borrowers remark, that used to be a really big thing on Facebook where people would make, like, baby cakes with candles and just, like, tiny stuff. I haven't seen a lot recently, but that used to be a thing. Unfortunately, I'm not borrower sized and I'm hungry, so I'm probably gonna cook for a normal sized human. Alright, so I cut these up to like that. Well, I'll probably cut them up smaller. Alright, I did like that size. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, there we go. Pretty coarse because we're gonna put it in a food processor. Do you think there would be a way to prove whether something got bigger, like instantaneously? Like, what if we went to bed tonight and the universe just decided to grow? Like, we wouldn't know. Right? Like, there's no way to. There's no absolute. It's all relative. I think it actually might be, though. Like, maybe we're changing sizes all the time. No one saw that. Yeah. So the dark energy thing, I know everything's getting further spaced out, but I don't know if that means like the atoms in my body or like everything keeps its like small things stay the same size, but then like those collected units get farther apart. Oh, okay, apparently it's only noticeable on heat scale. I guess that does that mean that like it is happening on the small scale, like the electrons orbiting the protons and neutrons of my atoms are like growing? That would be whack. I kind of hope it's true, just to have like a fun party fact. Like, did you know that everyone and everything is slowly growing? Whoa! My atoms are growing. Oh, they're not growing, they're spacing out. That makes sense. I think that's a bad physics joke. I'm kind of out of practice with my forces. There's the strong force, the weak force. I think there's like 2 more. I used to be like really into that, like a hobby physicist. Clearly I'm out of practice. But I mean, if you ever want a good read, like physics books, not like physics textbooks, but more like, they're like non-fiction books written about physics, but aimed at a general audience. Like, those are fun. Would recommend. Strange Force? I don't think there's a Strange Force. Unless it's you. You are a Strange Force. But I don't think the universe is made of a Strange Force. I think that sounds right. The only thing is my brain wants to say that like one of the stronger weak forces like is electromagnetic, but I think you're right. I think you're right. Sorry. Onions always get to me. Sorry, I think I just have like really sensitive eyeballs. Get some air flowing away from your face. Okay, I'm gonna turn the fan on for a little tiny whiny bit. My dad, when he's cooking, exclusively buys frozen onions so he doesn't have to cut them. And he's like, one day you will figure this out for yourself too. I still haven't, but okay, so half of this garlic. Alright, so for the garlic, I'm not even gonna cut it at all. I'm just gonna smash it, peel it, and then, oh, I guess I lied. I am gonna cut it a tiny bit, but I'm just gonna cut the little end off that's rough, the part that connects to the base of the head of the garlic. Okay. Whew. I'm gonna have to turn that fan back on. It's like, oh yeah, man. Wonder if it's genetics or something. Oh. Okay. Back when I used to work at the dish room on campus, the veggie prep room was right down the hallway, and so when they were cutting onions in there for a meal, they would just be cutting so many that the fumes would waft down, and all of the people in the dish room would just start crying. And the first time I ever worked a shift during the time when they were cutting vegetables was when I was a manager, and I didn't know it was happening. And so I, like, the first couple of people I saw, I was like, oh my god, everyone's having a really bad day, and it's like my job to check in with everybody. I was like, okay, we can do this. And it was just the onion, so I mean, which was kind of a relief. Oh, I cut the wrong end off that one. Woo! Okay. It is tear gas. Wait. Is the component the same in tear gas and onions? No. My eyes are watering. I don't need like my whole body to be watering. No. One organ at a time. We will be cutting peppers next though. But they're pretty mild. I have a jalapeno and I don't know what these are, but they're in the fridge. So mystery peppers. We can pretend they're really spicy, but I severely doubt that they are. try it. Take a bite, let's find. Of the pepper? Maybe when I'm getting there. Maybe when I'm cutting them. But no seeds. Definitely no seeds. And if it smells spicy, I'll probably baby it out. I have like some spice tolerance, but it's definitely not a lot. One seed? No, absolutely no seeds. You missed the plantains though. I did try raw plantains. It was kind of gross, but not like the worst thing in the world. Just a mouthful of starch. Dun, dun, dun. What? Huh, that's tempting. That, nah. Oh. Alright. I feel like it's not worth it. Like, I'd rather die unknown than consistently put myself through torture for other people's entertainment. Like, do you really want that to be your job? Like, hi, I suffer for people's entertainment. Nah, I'm good. I'll be poor as a will eat, or not eat, will cook with curiosity. I'll leave it at that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you suffer for other people's entertainment. As long as it's like consensual. And maybe you enjoy sometimes painful adventures. Whatever floats your boat. Alright, so they smell a little spicy. Maybe there's just jalapeno juice on my hand. I hope whoever bought these is watching and they're like super sweet or something and they're just laughing. Alright. Okay. Okay, you see that? Oh. It is not focusing. Ah. There's a little tiny bit on my hand. Whew. Okay. I'm sweating now. Yeah, it's a spicy pepper. Definitely a spicy pepper. It was only a really little bit, so it just kind of burned the very tip of my tongue. It wasn't the worst thing ever. Is it red? Probably. Not as red as this pepper though. We should rename this stream like Amelia eats all the weird random raw stuff as she cooks. Which is honestly how I cook anyway. Whoop.
pepper.
A whole pepper.
Might as well. I said I would.
On camera?
Oh, you want me to do it? I can do it on camera. It's fine. This is gonna suck, but alright.
We have a special treat. Do you want...
I mean, she had a little bit of it, so alright.
Is it bad?
I just bit into it. Give it some time. It's not nearly as hot as she's claiming. I mean, jalapeno level, maybe a little more. Not bad. I just swallow a bunch of the seeds. That's gonna burn on the way down.
What
It's
a
gonna burn
beast.
real bad on the way down.
I'm perfectly fine being a baby.
No, those are good. Those are real good.
You want some more?
Nope.
We have a whole bowl of them.
I know. We've had them forever. Now I'm mixing. Goodness gracious.
He's like coming out the door.
Yeah, definitely hiccuping a lot. I'm not used to that much spice. I can handle it, but my God, that was a lot at once.
I didn't know that was a symptom. Hiccups. Oh boy. If anyone else wants to pop on over and eat peppers, we have like 40 in our fridge. Alright, the last thing is cilantro. Oh. I don't know if you're... Yeah, I'm not going to put most of the stem in, but I'll put a little stem in because I'm lazy. Boom. Oh, and just so everyone's up to speed, the timer that went off was our brown rice. I looked at it and the recipe said to go until all of the liquid was absorbed by the rice, and we're not to that point, so it's gonna simmer for a little bit longer. While we cook everything else. Oh no. I think the experts recommend milk for this moment in time. If you have any milk, there's a running joke in the office that David needs a shirt that says like "will eat questionable food." I think this just proves it. It's gonna be our merch line. $40 and you can have a t-shirt that says "you will eat questionable food." Not really, but I mean if you gave us $40, we could probably make one. So if anyone needs like a burst of humanity can be epic, I have a fun story. I was sitting in my room today and I got a random email from someone I don't know. And they're like, "Hey, you attended this event like a year ago." And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "We found this notebook that has your name in it, and is it yours?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I lost that like a year ago." And they're like, "We'll mail it to you." Like without even sure, they'll just like mail me my notebook. And I was like, "Cool, I think I also lost a book with that notebook." And they're like, "Yeah, it's right here. We'll mail it with that." What a kind of considerate thing. That notebook can't be worth more than like $3. And they're willing to probably spend more on postage and return it to me. Yeah, it's little, there's people out there like that. Update for all of those for those of you who are tracking the David and the Pepper story, the pain has apparently peaked, and so it's getting better now. That was only, what, a couple minutes? Okay. This is almost ready. This is gonna make a lot more than you need to cook this one recipe with. It's just kind of unfortunate. But the units of the recipe weren't really set up in a way to easily scale down. But apparently it's good in a lot of things. Okay. Alright. I'm ready. Alright, this is all in the handy dandy food processor, and we're going to process it until it looks like the picture in the recipe. Okay. Sorry, this might be loud. Oh man. Give it a second to air out. The fumes are a little strong just because of all the onions. Whew. Alright, I'm probably gonna give it a little bit longer. I want it kind of liquidy. Man, I think the theme of today's episode is Amelia eats stupid thing, and then people don't see Amelia eating stupid thing, and then Amelia recommends watching the YouTube video afterwards so you can see me eat all of the stupid things. Woo! It's kind of getting liquidy. Alright, I'm gonna call it good. Whoops. Alright, I'm gonna call it good at that. This is kind of what it looks like. Boom, boom, boom. And it's ready. Oh, this is so hard. It's like mirrored. Okay. Ready to use. Alright. So our plantains have been soaking a little longer than it recommended, so I'm probably going to pull those out and set those on a plate to drain, which is recommended, and set them aside until I'm ready to cook those. Also, the rice is looking perfect, so I turned the heat off and it's just sitting on the warm burner. Da-da-da, da-da-da. I hope we have more paper towels, because we need them later in the recipe too. Alright. So I'm just gonna fish these out. Woo! They still feel starchy, like texturally. Should have probably done 2 plates, but I don't know where the paper towels are, so we're just gonna do that. Yes, I do need more paper towels. If anyone's curious, the water from that has like kind of stringies in it. It's weird. Alright.
Just ignore me.
Oh. So the salt water actually did a lot for the texture. It's much less stringy, or not stringy, starchy. And you can't really taste the salt. It might have just been because I got like a very outside edge, but it's a lot softer than it was before I put those in. That's cool. Alright. So I'm gonna work on the mushroom stew dish for a little bit, just because it takes a little bit longer. Alright. So we're gonna start with some mushrooms. These are some oyster mushrooms. Beautiful, beautiful. And we're gonna sprinkle over half a teaspoon. Oh, just kidding. Okay, we're gonna sprinkle as much of the adobo seasoning as we feel like it. Hopefully this isn't too much. Cool. And then she says set them aside. So I'm gonna set them aside. Okay. We're gonna grab a medium skillet. And that's over medium heat, and looks like we're gearing up to put some veggie broth in that, and then the stuff we just made, cook it for a little bit, add a little bit more broth, and then add the mushroom seasoning, and then everything just kind of simmers. So this will be pretty easy, it looks like. Alright. And we're going to do 4 tablespoons of this stuff. Whew. Alright, well, it says you want to cook that for about a minute. Oh, got hot. And after that minute, we're going to pretty much add everything else. So I'm going to start opening my cans. Ah, that was dumb. Does anyone have any spicy horror stories other than David, who just ate a pepper for the fun of it? While you're thinking about it, I'll share mine. Woo! It's not actually that bad. I was just cooking with peppers once, and I was really not diligent, and I got the juice on my hands, and then I was like scratching my nose, and it got up my nasal canal, and so my nose just really hurt for a while. And I remember like trying all these different things, like Googling, like, oh, I got pepper juice on my nose, what do I do? And I think one of the things was like olive oil, and it helped. But yeah, if you can avoid getting pepper juice in your nose, probably should. Wait, how many times is several times? That's concerning. That smells delicious. Oh no. I think you're beating me. Alright, so over here on the stove, I've been working on our mushroom recipe. It's pretty much to the point where it's adding everything else in. So I've added the rest of the vegetable broth, which will be half a cup, and then the tomato sauce, the adobo seasoning, and I'm about to put the mushrooms in. That's pretty much it. I don't know how much I should tear these up. I don't want to put in like a whole clump of them. Oh. Oh, sorry about that. I honestly forgot it was on. Alright. Tomato sauce. Check. And then the last thing is olives. The recipe specifically calls for a type of olives called manzanilla olives, which I googled and they're apparently like softer green olives. But I was gonna do black olives and it should be fine. And if it's not, the world won't end. Alright, so that's half a cup. And the rest are for me. Ah. I freaking love olives. Because green olives are a pain in the butt to find. And they're like way more expensive. I think it'll be fine. If it's not, you can blame me. I will take full responsibility. Some salt, and last thing is pepper. Oh. As you can probably see, when I cook, I try everything raw. Black olives, spicy peppers. I don't know, it's just been a thing since I was a kid. Dough. I still do dough, even though it makes my stomach sick. And every time I tell myself, like, oh, that's the last time I'll ever eat dough raw again. And then I make a pizza, and I'm like, oh, I gotta make sure it's okay, I'll die. And I try it, and I get sick. Well, not really sick, but just uncomfortable. Alright, that's like pretty much what we've got to do on that one. We bring it to a boil and simmer for 10 minutes. So not really needing to do much more. So that leaves us with our Mofongo. Ah! I dropped one. Rip. Alright. For the Mofongo, it looks like we're going to fry our plantains and then fry our seitan and then grind it all together. Okay, that should be fun. I'm gonna clean up so I have space for that skillet, and then I will get to cooking that. This is the part where it feels like a YouTube video. It would be like double speed and there'd be like a fun little music in the background. Oh. I could have probably kept that one out. Okay. I do not know what KW means. My apologies. Okay, I feel a little bit better now. Sometimes I like genuinely just don't know things I should know in terms of pop culture references. This is, okay. I appreciate the compliment, but I have to be completely transparent. This is more like a shove it in the closet clean than like an actual clean. So, definitely still have to clean afterwards. Alright, so I'm going to put a lid over the mushrooms. Budding. Actually, I don't know. It doesn't say to put a lid over it. Huh, maybe I won't. I'm going to go ahead and turn it down though so it simmers. And someone reminded me like 7:36 to pull those off. Just kidding, I'll look, but. Boom, boom. This slides around a lot more than I'm comfortable with for something that's like really hot. It's unideal. Alright, whoop, wrong plug. Oh, no, okay. I don't think I've used one of these before. Okay. This is set to 300? I don't know. We'll see what happens. Alright. 2 tablespoons of oil. That's like 1.5. 2, perfect, right on the dot. Just kidding. Alright, well this oil's heating up. Once these plantains go in, it's going to take about, it says 3 minutes per side. And then we're going to transfer them onto more paper towels on plates. So I'm going to go ahead and get some of those ready so that I do not get so impatient that I put them into cold oil. And I think we might use a plate for the seitan too. Combine the seitan. Oh, no, just the plantains. Sounds like it might be almost ready to go already. That was pretty quick. Okay, I think it's ready enough. These are, they're like a little wet, so they'll probably splash. Oh, not too bad. Oh, that one splashed. I think I'm honestly probably making it worse for myself by dropping them from so high. Gotta love, oh yeah. Ah. I feel like that's a compliment. Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. As I skittickly toss plantains into a skillet full of oil, terrified that I might get splattered. Okay. Oh, why didn't I think of tongs? Oh, that hurts. Man. That's like a really good idea, but I want to give you negative points for thinking of it like a minute after I need it. I know! My feelings exactly. Ooh, these are kind of getting really yellow when they cook, which is kind of interesting. Maybe I'll get some tongs and show you guys. Wait, what? Oh no! The one time. That's a meme. You get double bonus points. One for the good idea and one for the false accusation. At my workplace, we have like a Twizzler jar that has, I think, 5 pounds of Twizzlers in it. or it used to. I mean, it doesn't anymore because we eat them. And then another one with candy. And both of them, there's tongs involved. And so now my brain thinks I'm gonna get candy, but I'm not. I just have to flip these plantains. Ta-da! Ooh, I think that's about what we want. Ta-da-da! So I'm gonna start flipping some of the ones that went in a little earlier. Ta-da! Wow! I might use the flippers for this. Maybe both? We'll see. Hoi! Yeah! Oh, those work. They're so yellow afterwards. Do you guys see the difference? I don't know if the camera's good enough to show you how yellow they are, but they go from like a pale kind of pastel-y to like sunshine. Well, not sunshine, maybe like lemon yellow. It's a lemon yellow. Ta-da! Oh, I could use the other camera. Okay, I'm gonna flip most of these and then I'll get the camera. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. So I'm gonna get it loading up. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, it's getting ready. Soon you shall see. I don't know if we're going for yellow here. It says golden brown, so I might have to let some of these go a little longer than I did. That's okay. You can always flip them back over. It's like pancakes. Okay. Tongs might have been good for putting them in, but they're kind of hard to flip with. Not gonna lie. Alright. Let me go ahead and show you guys on the camera before I get too many more of them flipped. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. So this is our skillet. And you can probably see it pretty clearly, but like these along this edge haven't been flipped at all, and then these really yellowy ones have. And then these darker brown ones just went on the first side a little bit longer. I think this might be what we're aiming for, so I might have to turn some of these back over for a little bit. But it's such a weird color change. I hope that was helpful to you guys. Ooh, more gold ones. I have a really bad earworm today. Whew. I don't know if anyone in the chat listens to, but did they? Oh, thank you. Why, thank you. If anyone listens to Glass Animal, but they have a new song out called Heatwave, and I don't know, my brain just like decided it's gonna love it, in the sense that it will listen to it, and listen to it, and listen to it, and as soon as it stops listening to it, it's going to sing it to itself until I listen to it again. Ooh, these are starting to get pretty good. I should have timed it to see if it was really 3 minutes. I think 3 minutes will probably get you these brown ones. Alright. And I'm I'm gonna take a baby break from this, and I was gonna say go turn my mushrooms off, but they're not doing much of anything, so I might actually turn them up. I think I turned the burner too low. Whoops. Okay, I'm gonna turn that up for a little bit and maybe get it doing something. Apparently 2 on that burner is off. Live and learn. Okay, so some of these might be about done. Oh, no, not yet. I'm only a little bit impatient. Okay, I'm gonna let them cook for a little bit. In the meantime, I'm gonna need that food processor again, so I'm gonna have to start cleaning that out. Which means I'll have to find a container for the sofrito. Sofrito? Man, I'd have to look it up. Let me look that up. Sofrito, like the potato or corn chip. This is really strong in fumes. Like the combo with onions and chili peppers and a food processor. Whew. I remember one time as a kid, I was like, I'm gonna make homemade Takis. Bowls under the island or on top of. Man, I need to look at the chat more often when I'm struggling, apparently. Anyway, I decided I was gonna try to make homemade Takis, which are, they like these corn chip kind of things, but they're rolled and they have like spicy sauce on the outside. And so my solution to making these was, okay, I'm gonna take a tortilla, it's probably a good start, and then I'm going to grind up jalapenos in a food processor, and then I'm gonna like dip the tortilla in the juice and then bake it. And all of these fumes from the jalapenos like filled the whole kitchen, like no one could be in it. It was pretty bad. So kind of be careful when you put spicy things in a food processor. Alright, I think these are actually looking about where I want them. They all kind of got some golden brown on them. There's probably a few that could go a little longer, but I think I'm going to start pulling most of them. Alright. Boom, boom. Like that one. Da da da, da da da. beautiful. Mm-hmm. Pretty much anything with brown on both sides I'm pulling right now. Some of them do not have brown on both sides. Maybe I need to turn this up a little bit. Whew. Okay. Oh, there we go. Ow. Ah. Oh.
Gotta turn that camera off or you get a delay in the above camera.
Helpful tech info. Boom, boom, boom. I'm definitely gonna snitch one and see how they taste. They're a little thicker than you would usually make normal fried plantains. Dun, 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 dun. These will need a little bit more. I think that half's a little hotter. Dun, dun. Ooh, that's a good one. Dun. Ooh, pretty one. Not yet. Alright. Ooh, alrighty. These are looking good. Woo! Oh no. Ooh, I think this one's my favorite. I'm going to name it. Just kidding. You shouldn't name things you're gonna eat. Ooh, these are right where I want them. Ooh, maybe getting not quite. They're not burnt yet, but they're just. If I left them in for another 2 minutes, they would be. That one had peel on it still. Oops, must have been one of the early ones. Alright. Next we're gonna kind of do the same thing with the seitan. This one's gonna take 5 minutes, so a little less. But a little more oil. Ooh, this one smells really good. With all the smoked paprika in there. Ooh. Alright. Kind of a softer sizzle too. Probably because there's less water in it. I'm gonna clean out that food processor because we're gonna need it pretty soon once this comes out. And then I guess it's about time to get plates out. Whew, because everything's... I think that's what that's supposed to look like. I honestly don't know on that one. But everything's about done. Alright, the only other thing that we're going to put in this food processor, other than the seitan and the plantains, is we're going to do 2 cloves of garlic. So I might also go ahead and prep those. Well, sorry off camera here. My workspace is just getting a little crowded. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Also, while that cooks, I had a really awesome, well, I wouldn't call it awesome, it was actually kind of terrifying, but I have a good story to tell from my work as a science minion. So, as a science minion, out on the console, one of my jobs is to go around and kind of scavenger hunt these things called buffalo wallows, or bison wallows. Basically, it's where they roll around in the dirt and all the grass dies and it makes this mud patch. Someone's interested in them, so we go and we see if they're there or not. Whew, I need a cutting board. And today, while we're doing this, like most days, we are doing it in an area of the console that has bison in it. I think they have like a 300 or so in their herd. It's pretty substantive. And they're not the most mellow of creatures. So if they're anywhere near, we're not working there. It's happened before that we're working somewhere and they kind of start wandering along and we kind of see them and they're heading our way, and so we just kind of have to leave and come back after they've passed. So today we're doing, we call it wallowing. And so we're walking through and we see two bison and they're running, which is really impressive. They can run up to 35 miles per hour, which is like a 2-minute mile. Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. But they're running, and they're running down a hill, and we're kind of on the upside, like the other side of that hill. And we're like, wow, they're moving fast. We're keeping eyes on them, because if they get any closer, we probably need to head out. But they go into the valley. We can't see them from the top of the hill, and they don't come back out either side. So we wait a little bit longer, and then we're like, okay, like, we don't see them. They were running. If they were still running, we would have seen them by now. And so we just kind of go about our business. We go find our next wallow. We measure it, and we're heading back to kind of the pathway back to the car. And we're walking, and we get over this hill, and they're like right there. I'd say maybe like 30, 50 yards, like they're pretty close. And they're walking with a purpose, and they're walking our way, and we're looking at each other, and we're like, oh my god, they're coming at us. And as we're looking around, we're looking around for like a fence to get over. There's no fence anywhere. We're like in the middle of the enclosure. Sometimes there's like small little fenced areas that they use for research as control plots. None of those. The next best thing is like a tree to climb. There's no trees. And so like in this really like split second moment, like we see a bush, like a shrub island. They're everywhere. They're really common. And so we're like, well, I guess we have to like hide in that shrub. And then like they start running towards us. And so we start dead sprinting with these two bison on our tails towards this shrub, which is, it was pretty scary. And in the middle of this, I'm wearing rain boots that are a size and a half too big, and so they come off in the middle of this. So I'm sprinting across the prairie in my socks, and then me and my coworkers are just like hiding in this shrub, and they come by, and they just like stare at it, and they're like huffing at it, and we're just like, please go away. And then the other group calls us, and we're like, guys, like, we can't talk right now. We're hiding in this bush. They're right there. Like, we gotta go. And so they're like, oh man, we gotta save them. And so they get in their trucks wherever they were. They weren't too far away. And they like zoom across the prairie. Well, not the prairie, there's a road. They follow the road. They zoom across the road and they come to the enclosure and they're about ready to like bomb down this fire guard trail that is really not that passable to ram into the bison. But by the time they get there, they kind of like looked at the bush and then they stayed there for an uncomfortably long period of time. And they walked to the other side of the bush and they stayed there. And eventually they just kind of moved along by the time our coworkers got there. But it was quite a day. I really wouldn't recommend putting yourself in that situation. After that, we were like, man, we should have been more careful. Like, we knew they were there, like, because they're the ones coming down the hill. Should have kept a better eye on them. But yeah, that was my day. Dun, dun, dun. It's kind of interesting to see the new occupational hazards of different jobs. It was terrifying, but also interesting, but mostly terrifying. It was like the first time in my life that I had a survivalist instinct kick in. Like when I was sprinting, I don't even know how to describe it. It wasn't that close of a call that I would have died or anything, but I just remember like sprinting like without shoes on and just like knowing deep down that if I stepped on like a honey locust that like thorns are that big and it would have gone through my foot, I just like would have kept sprinting because I had to, which is, I don't know, like I've never been in a situation like that before. But I used to work in a chemistry lab and the occupational hazards there were like, oh yeah, someone spilled mercury, don't go into the lab today or you'll like be poisoned by mercury. Or, oh yeah, someone put the wrong thing in the organic waste container and there's a bomb in the lab, so don't go in the lab today. And now it's like, oh, there's a bison chasing you, run for that bush, or, oh man, you don't want to mess with bison. Oh, they're terrifying. Huh. But yeah, this is an interesting thing. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. I was talking to my other coworkers, and from the sounds of it, that's pretty rare. Like, usually you're closer to a fence. Like, it's pretty common to have to, like, leave what you're doing because of bison and kind of go hop in a truck. But usually there's better options than a shrub island. Alright. So, oops, I forgot to clean the lid. 1 second, folks. Alright, so for the last step of this recipe, we put the plantains, the seitan, and 2 cloves of garlic in a food processor. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun. Whew. Man, I've seen like an extra work area that, like this one I'm done with, so I can just like push it aside and get like a whole new clean island. I think I'd burn through at least 3 in an episode if I could do that. Okay. The recipe says that we want to like kind of cut it until it's kind of chunky. We don't want to pulverize it. Definitely not as much as we did the other one. Sorry again on the ears. Huh. Ooh, it smells really good. I think I might go a little bit longer because notice there's some whole ones still. Okay, this is really interesting. These kind of feel like potatoes on the inside, like cooked potatoes. I wonder if that's kind of what the dish is going for. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, I think I'm gonna call that good because it's starting to get too mushy. All right, so it's kind of what that looks like. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom. All right, and I think all I have left is putting it on plates. All right, we've got our brown rice. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I want to try baby bit to see if the texture is good.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's like perfect. Nice and soft. And the cooking it with the vegetable broth that's a good deal of flavor. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Alright, next I'm gonna do some of our. Ooh, this one's still hot. Alright, next we're gonna do some of the mushrooms. This dish is weird because the rest of it's very homogeneous, but this one's kind of chunky. It's got different segments of it. Alright, and this was meant to go over the rice, so I'm going to kind of put it. Dun, dun, dun. Alright. Didn't mean to put that one on there. Oh well. And last but not least, this Mofongo. Apparently you're supposed to like put it in a cup and then flip it over, so might as well try it. So here's my cup. I might have not, I should have probably ground it a little bit more. The bottom's really good, but the top not so much. Dun, 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 dun. I'm gonna grind it a little bit more. Dun, 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 dun. Ooh, that looks a lot better. Dun, 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 dun. Woo! I'm such a mess. It kind of squashes down and it's not too big that you can't mold it. Dun, dun. Moment of truth. Oh hey! That didn't turn out too bad. Alright. Get this out of here. Okay. Boom, let me show you guys close up. Boom, boom, boom. Alright, so this is the mound, our rice and our mushrooms, and then the sauce is coming off the mushrooms. I think it's supposed to be like that, so you have something to dip your rice in. So yeah, it's time. Oh, tap the screen to focus. Ooh, there you go. You can actually see it now. It's probably helpful to see kind of how chopped up that is.
All you do is tap the screen to make it focus.
It's focused now.
Oh, okay, cool.
Deliciousness. Okay. It's time to try it. Okay. Now for the fun part. I think I'm going to try the Plantain and Seitan one first. Just because I'm most curious about it. Ooh. Kind of crumbly. Don't know if it's supposed to be. It's very subtle. It's hard to describe. I don't think I've really had something quite like this before. The Seitan is very meat-esque in texture and flavor. I don't really know how to describe it other than it tastes like plantains and seitan, which I know probably isn't super helpful for folks, but they're pretty unique flavors. It's pretty good together. Dun, 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 dun. Can you tell I'm super hungry? Okay. So in flavor, I think I'd probably go a 7. Like it's pretty good. I think the one thing that might knock it down a little bit is it's pretty simplistic in flavor. Like it's pretty much one flavor. Like you've got this adobo seasoning that's tying everything together, and so the seitan has that flavor, the plantains have that flavor, but like it's a really good flavor. It just depends kind of what you want in a dish. In terms of difficulty, let me try and remember what exactly went into this one only. So it was the cutting the plantains, cutting the seitan. This one was pretty easy because all I had to do was cut the plantains, put them in the water, put the seitan in the oil, cook them both in some oil, and then put them in food. Like you didn't even have to cut anything really other than the seitan and the plantains. Like there weren't any onions or things. So I might put this as like a 2. Like it's pretty easy. The hardest part would definitely be working with foreign ingredients because I don't think most people probably have cooked with plantains or seitan before. But it's pretty easy. I might actually work this one into my routine as like a good weeknight meal that I need to not put a lot of effort into. It's good. It'd be really good with like a bed of white rice. Okay. I'm gonna have some of my palate cleansing tea. Just kidding, I was thirsty, guys. Probably get this out of the way. Boom! Alright, on to the mushrooms. Mushrooms aren't my favorite. So, we'll see about this one. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Mushrooms definitely aren't a problem. That one's really good. It has some spice from the sofrito we made, which is really nice, but something I don't think I've had before in dishes is the vinegary of an olive with that spice. And it's a pleasant combo. Also, in terms of like level of spice, it's just enough to kind of like give your tongue a little like whoo, but not enough to really like linger or sting, which is about where I like it. Okay, I need to rank this before I get too much further. I might do this one at maybe an 8. I feel like I'm ranking these really high. This might be similar to like don't go to the grocery store hungry. Don't rank food when you're hungry because it's just all very delicious. But this one actually is pretty good. I think I'd give it an 8 because it has the olive and the spice is a really good level. And then the rice also adds a good flavor and also really good texture. I know that's not really part of a flavor ranking, but I'll throw it in there because I think it matters. In terms of difficulty, I think the biggest thing on this one was you had to make the sofrito, and that was a lot of cutting. You don't have to cut a lot. It doesn't have to be like nice cuts. Brown rice takes a long time. Put these all in my formulation robot brain. Beep boop, beep boop. This one might be higher, more of like a 5 or a 6. I think some of the things that make it harder aren't necessarily skills, but more resources. It's a more time-intensive recipe. The brown rice takes at least 40 minutes. You have to make another recipe to make this recipe, which is kind of a pain. And I think the other thing is, well, I guess they both require a food processor. But yeah, maybe a 5. Not that bad. It's kind of step intensive. But yeah, that's our episode. I guess before I wrap up for forever, I'm gonna give you guys one last chance in the chat to ask any questions before we sign off. Until then, I'm just gonna eat this delicious food in front of you guys. Because that's what you signed up for. Whew. My like mustache area is tingling from this spice. It's kind of weird. This one has a lot of dishes to it though. Can you make candy? I don't know how to make candy. Me and my grandma tried making gummy bears once, but it didn't work. That's as close as I've gotten. That'd be a fun thing to do on stream sometime though. Okay. And with that, boom, boom, boom. I'm gonna close this out. Thank you for joining us for another Real Food Live episode. Feel free to join us again next week. We start at 6, and on Tuesdays we have an additional stream, Sustainable Kitchen, which we'd love to see you at too. Until then, I hope you have a great week. Stay safe, stay well, and have some fun. Damn, I'm really bad at that. Bye, guys.